It's time!
What's up, movie trivia Schmoedown fans? This is the Schmoedown Rundown. This is the special league preview edition for this season. We're super jacked. The Schmoedown's coming back. We'll be back next week. How awesome is that? Ready to get back into action. Joining me up top, he is the stat man of Schmoeville. He is Frank Janish. What's up, man?
What's going on, guys? This is going to be an interesting special. I love talking about all the matches. Really excited about what's to come ahead. So, and we are going to try and stat the crap out of this preview.
We're going to change the world in this episode. So get your calculators ready. Get ready to break it down. Also joining me, he is the king of the ding. He is Paul Wolf, not Mr. Paul Wolf, just Paul Wolf. How's it going, man?
It's going quite well. How's everybody doing?
You know, it's Friday night, and the mood is right. Let's just put it that way. All right. So just coming attractions in this episode. Frank was kind enough to do I'll call it an expose about a certain particular Schmoedown competitor, maybe some not flattering stats, if you will, and you'll get that at the end of the episode. So definitely stay tuned. It is very interesting to say the least. Let's jump into some Schmoedown news for this week. If you watch the ranking special, you know that Championship Week was announced by Kristian this week. All titles to be defended across 1 week of action in February. That will be the Movie Trivia Schmoedown title, the Inner Geekdom Championship, and the Team Championship, all to be defended. We still also have Best of the Rest. We have the Rumble. Those were officially announced. Let's talk a little bit about the rankings. And we got the whole list here. I mean, I don't think we need to go through everything. Frank, I'm going to kick it to you since you are the stat man. You have your own rankings. Let's start with the team rankings first. Is there anything out of the ordinary, or do you think it's kind of just how you had it?
Yeah, honestly, the list that they have compared to what I had before the special that came out, I'm pretty close. I only had two things that were different. I had so they had 6 Degrees at 9 and Heroes at 8. Mine were switched, and then they had Rotten Tomatoes at 5 and Tough Beats at 4. I had the reverse of that, just because Tough Beats only 1 win. Rotten Tomatoes is facing pretty good competition. They got 2 wins. That's why I had Rotten Tomatoes above Tough Beats. But other than that, it was both our lists were pretty much the same. So I could not really disagree with how they switched those few teams around. So, I was pleasantly surprised that my rankings matched up with theirs.
Fair enough. Paul, what do you think about it, man? You kind of like on the same track? Anything stick out to you?
A little bit. It's actually interesting to see Frank actually agree with the list instead of have a big argument, which is kind of a change in his ways a little bit. But that's actually kind of cool. While I was listening to this, I was actually kind of wondering if Frank was involved in the rankings and talking about the stats and stuff with Kristian. However, the list being the same, that's kind of cool. Looking at it overall, it was interesting to see Heroes below Wolves of Steel, even though Heroes beat them, and then seeing our good buddies ETC at 6. See, again, it's tough. Like, I would love to see an ETC Wolves of Steel match to just see that why they're at 6. 2-2, Wolves of Steel's 1-1, so they're almost kind of an even match there. I would have given it to Wolves of Steel over ETC in my mind, and maybe even Heroes over ETC too. To me, 6 for ETC is a little high. And then the rest of the list, I honestly think 5 through 1, pretty accurate. I actually kind of agree with the top 5. That's the only issue I had, was maybe a little bit of a mixture between 6, 9. Well, 6 through 8, actually. I thought 6 Degrees a little lower, meaning like they're lower than I thought they should be. They've got some matches coming up here in the next season here, so we'll see if that makes any adjustment in their ranking. But yeah, like I said, top 5 spot on, but 6 through 8, a little bit of a mixture there that they had on the official show today.
Fair enough. I mean, I don't see too much difference. I think I would flip flop a couple, like you said, Frank. I think Tough Beats and Rotten Tomatoes could easily flip. I think that could go either way. In terms of strength of schedule, which I think is what John Campea was trying to say earlier, and he just going based off of that, I think Rotten Tomatoes is a little bit ahead of Tough Beats. I do have an issue with Wolves of Steel being ranked ahead of Heroes. I think that's not right. Both of those teams should be bumped down. Heroes and 6 Degrees should both be bumped down a notch. I would put Wolves of Steel at number 9 myself. That's just all I had a gripe with. Now let's jump over to singles. We had some people making some movements. Jeff Snyder made a big movement, unfortunately, with his loss to Chris Stuckman. And we have a new number 1 with Roca at top. Frank, what about this one? What about singles? Everything kind of match up with you, or was there anything out of the ordinary?
There was a little here and there difference. Not too much at the top. Kristian had Riley above himself at 3 and 4. I had them actually switched. Current run has gone compared to Harloff's current run. And that's why I elected to bump Harloff over Riley in that sense. And then we've always kind of disagreed on where Makuga falls in. Kristian had him at 7. I have him at 9. And then one I'm not really too up in arms over is how they rank Bibani and McWeeny at 9 and 10. I personally have Bibani at 7 ahead of Snyder, Makuga, and unlike Kristian, who put McWeeny at 10, I have Andreyko at 10, and then right below Andreyko, I would put McWeeny at 11. So you could flip McWeeny and Andreyko, and I'm not going to argue with that. That's just my own personal preference on how well I think Andreyko did, even despite a loss. Because if Andreyko had faced anybody else, he would have won, and he would easily be in the top 10. I mean, we had the greatest match of all time. Hard to punish Andreyko and leave him out of the top 10. So that's why I put him at 10 instead of McWeeny. That's fine.
Paul, what do you think of these rankings? Anything out of the ordinary to you? Anything sticking out?
Yeah, a little bit. I completely agree with what Frank said with Riley and Harloff. I had them flipped too. I had Harloff at 3, Riley at 4. You had Makuga a lot lower than I did. I actually had him above Wolf because he actually beat her. And again, it's interesting. I had both singles and team issues with the 6th ranked player, Levine. I mean, he's kind of on a slow decline. To me, it was a little too high for Levine. And so I had Makuga at 5, and I had Snyder at 6. And then with your guys' descriptions of Bibani and McWeeny and Snyder, I had them, kind of move up one more. And with the Andreyko thing, looking at your stats, Frank, actually, you're seeing the 92.3% score, and then having him be an 0-1, but then McWeeny being 1-0, but only 76% correct. The 92 outweighs the 76, even despite that loss. I think the score-wise, that again, you said if it was against anybody else, he would be immediately in that top 10. Andreyko at 10 as well. So kind of the same list a little bit, but shifted here and there. So yeah.
Yeah. So I understand the logic between, Makuga ended up beating Wolf in the Ultimate Schmoedown. But if you look at that match, Clark Wolf outperformed Josh Makuga. It just didn't come out in the way of points. And yes, the points ultimately matter, but in terms of how strong a competitor is and how competitive they are, it's Clark Wolf over Makuga for me from then until now, and probably into the rest of the future, because I think this could be a pretty big season for Clark Wolf. The disparity between performance is somewhat considerable, and that's why I think Wolf is still much more higher on my list and Harloff's list above Makuga.
Why you got to be mean to our new best friend, Josh Makuga, our partner in crime? You're down in our partner. I'm not down with it. What's up?
Friends tell each other the truth, Aaron. That's what friends are all about.
Is that what friends do?
That's what they do. They tell them what they need to hear.
All right. Well, okay. Well, as far as these singles rankings go, I don't really have a big issue. I think, Paul, you're kind of on the right track with Sam Levine. I think it's a little high. I would probably just flip him to Makuga. That would probably be the only thing, because he did beat Jeff Snyder, and I think that kind of propelled him. And unfortunately, Snyder, of course, had the little slide there at the end. 5-1. It's hard to argue any of those. So let's jump to, oh my gosh, this week. Let me tell you something, guys. So I had this idea a few weeks ago. We kind of came together as a collective, and I was telling Frank and Paul, I was like, you know what would be kind of fun, because we don't have any Schmoedowns. Let's have a fantasy draft. Like, that'd be kind of fun, right? And we all kind of agreed it would be fun. And I got in touch with our good buddy Chris Skaliski, and he's like, oh yeah, I'll totally be in on that. So we all came together and had a little draft. To put it lightly, exploded like an atomic bomb. And people, I got to give it to the Schmoeville Facebook group, Schmoeville in general. Holy crap! What a response! I appreciate that. That's amazing. What an amazing response. I think between the three of us, our phones were on fire on Saturday. Like so many, the ding, 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 just
yes.
And then by the midday, it was a thing. It was an official thing. It was all of a sudden it was Frank, myself, Brian Harloff, the other Harloff. He could be Harloff Major. I don't know. And it was also, Josh McCouga got in on it. So it's us four like running a league all of a sudden, like out of nowhere. So I kind of want to talk a little bit about that, about what's happening. If you didn't catch the live show last night, Josh McCouga did break down the rules of how it's going to work. It's kind of, if you listened to the show last week, it's kind of a happy medium between the rules that we had and then some that McCouga came up with on his own. And I think it's a nice marriage of the two. So it's a little bit, if you listen to the show last week, they're not exactly the same, but they're pretty close. So definitely check out the Schmoeville Facebook group and the Movie Trivia Schmoedown Facebook group for that information. RB3 posted them in both groups to get your leagues rolling. Frank, you had said use hashtag SDFL to, share your teams.
So I saw some people posting their pictures in the groups, and, it could get lost in all the other posts. We might not be able to see them. And we might not be able to see some of the cool creative names people come up with. So if you hashtag it SDFL, Schmoedown Fantasy League, that was pretty simple. You can click the hashtag and then you get to see everybody else's leagues and how people drafted. And it's just a really good, easy way to see everybody, participating in this Schmoedown Fantasy League. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really interested to see what everybody comes up with. So if you want to do it on Facebook, you can do it there. Do it on Twitter. We'll find them and we'll shout you out. I mean, be creative. Be as creative as you can be. You can make a suck a fart league if you want. That's fine. It's just, be creative, do the best you can. And I'm interested to see how people's teams end up shaping out, because with the different rules from us, you have teams integrated in there. Frank, you are the statistician. You will be doing, we found out today, well, I found out today, I don't know when you found out, but you're going to be doing a weekly column, if you will, on schmoesnow.com. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I'll be working with, about once a week, I think we're going to post an article of sorts on the schmoesnow.com website. I'll be working with Rasika, if you guys know him from Schmoeville.
He's the man.
Yeah, great. And, someone in one of the posts had mentioned, why don't there be something kind of on the Schmoesnow website? And I was like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense, but, and if they want to do it, I've been more than willing to help. And they reached out to me and I, emailed them back and forth. And basically we're about one post a week, putting out just a bunch of stats. So it's a really easy place for everyone to go, because I do post them on Facebook in both groups, or mostly in the Movie Trivia Schmoedown group, but it can get lost. And then you got to look through all the pictures and then look through all the posts. But if it's on the website, you just click a link or you go to the website, you can find the page. And it should be a lot easier to find, and you don't have many people saying, hey, there's stats, where does this go? And it's just a lot more convenient to look up stats and to help keep track of your own fantasy league, who you want. Maybe you want to drop somebody, how they're performing. So I think it's a really great marriage between what we've been doing here on the rundown and then we bringing it to schmoesnow.com website. It's a lot better medium to post everything stat-wise and perhaps some other things throughout the season, maybe some and whatnot. So it's going to be a lot of fun trying to, or not trying, but we'll be working on this. So I look forward to it. I think it's going to be a really cool thing to do.
I think it makes a lot of sense in the fact that, not everybody is a member of the Schmoeville Facebook group or the Movie Trivia Schmoedown group. And that's fine. That's totally fine. But if you peruse, if you will, the Schmoesnow website, you'll still find us there. So we're working together with schmoesnow.com to help everybody out with the fantasy league, to kind of, grow the conversation, if you will. I think that's the best way to put it. Grow the conversation. And Rachel Cushing reached out to us, and she's awesome, and she does a lot of stuff for schmoesnow.com. And Rasika, like you said, great people to work with. So, I mean, I'm pumped up to work with them. I think that's going to be awesome. Makes perfect sense to me. Definitely check that out. The articles will start dropping. I think they're going to drop it with this episode. So the first one will be tomorrow, I do believe.
Yeah, hopefully tomorrow or Monday, or
awesome.
Whenever you're listening to this, it should be out, hopefully. I don't know.
Yeah, let's hope so. Let's not be liars. But
yeah.
All right. So I've been seeing a lot of people post either on Twitter or Facebook or whatever, talking about, oh man, like who are the top prospects? Like who should we draft first? And I thought it'd be pretty cool if Frank, being the statistician, I said it again, if you would come up with like maybe a top player ranking to see where we're at, like maybe give the people some advice on who are the top players available in terms of of scoring and things like that. So what do you got for me, man?
All right, so when we look at strictly singles speaking, I took a look at the top 10 players who earn the most amount of points available to them. Okay, and right off the bat, the players who have just one match under the belt, top 10. So it's not really a fair representation of the top 10. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the top 10 who've had more than one match, and then I'm going to give you the top people who've been in just one match, because Bibani automatically is going to be at the top. He's at 95.83% possible points earned. But let me start with people who have had more than one match. So Dan Murrell ranks number 1. I don't think that's any surprise to anybody.
Champ.
Yeah. Possible points earned. He's earning nearly 73% of all available points to him.
Wow.
Number 2 is Mark Ellis. He's at 72%. Number 3, John Roca at 69.5%. I mean, top 3. Those guys were, at the end of the Ultimate Schmoedown and everything that went on. So no surprise there. Number 4 is Mark Riley at 68%. Number 5 is Levine.
Interesting.
At 68%. Kristian Harloff at number 6 at 66%. Possible points earned. Clark Wolf at number 7 with 61% points earned. Number 8 is Josh McCouga at nearly 61%. Number 9 is John Schnepp at 57.89%. And then Jeff Snyder rounds out the top 10 with 57.30% possible points earned. And then for the one-match wonders, if you will, Bibani at 95.83 and Draco number 2 at 86.96. Drew McWeeny at 75%. Sam Whitwer was at 73.33. And then you have Annie Signor at 69.7. Mike Kalinowski at 68.75. He actually tied with Sasha Pearl-Raver, also at 68.75. So those are people who are high earners of all the possible points available to them. What that basically means is even if they didn't get to the third round to earn those points, they're not penalized in this stat for not being able to earn another 9 points.
Sure.
I hope that's clear.
No, I got you. I think something to keep in mind for the draft as well, you got to look at the schedule. You got to look at who's playing. So if you take Mark Ellis right away, you got to think a little bit because he doesn't currently have a match on the schedule. Now, the schedule is only about 2 months, so he very well could have one very soon. But at this current moment, if you're looking to score right away and kind of build a lead, Mark Ellis probably isn't your guy. So you got to kind of take a little bit of strategy in there. You kind of got to look at who's in there team-wise.
You kind of basically just covered what I wanted to throw in there was it's draft at your own risk.
For sure.
And also another thing, you got to think about who do you think is going to get into the Ultimate Schmoedown, because there are bonus points in there for that, and they will be at least playing one extra match, maybe more than anybody else. And if they're good, another extra 2 to 3, and that could be a big chunk of your points. Like JTE, he played, 4 matches this year, or past year. And if he had gotten into the Ultimate Schmoedown, dude could have possibly been in 8 matches, right? And even if, he didn't win everything, he's still getting you points. Trying to figure out what's going to be the most, who are the most players that are going to play the most. Not necessarily who's going to win. That's one aspect of the strategy you could look at. Who's going to be able to play the most, because they're going to be continually getting you points. But that's the fun thing about this. We have no idea.
Yeah, we're so young in this. Who knows how it's going to shake out? I mean, vote or don't pick a player with your heart, okay? Yes, you may love Mark Riley. You may love Clark Wolf. But, first of all, Clark can't even talk right now. Just want to throw that out there. So,
hey, they got the boards now, man. Don't matter.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, wow. You took away my strategy. Okay, so don't put your heart and soul into a player just because you like. Damn right.
But you know what? Generally, the people who are the best, generally are most popular.
Okay.
Generally.
Okay. Sure. Would you say that Tom Brady's a popular player among the NFL?
You know who Tom Brady is, so I'd say he's popular.
Well, of course I know who Tom Brady is. I watch football, but I'm just saying, would you
but
say
that... But you know who he is because he's good.
I don't think I'm making a point here. Never mind. All right, let's move on. If you guys have any questions about the fan league and how it's going to work and all that kind of – actually, it's the official Schmoedown League, I should say, and how that's going to work, you can contact me or Frank. You can DM us on Facebook or Twitter or whatever you want, and we will answer your questions to the best of our abilities. You can All right, now we're going to jump into our team previews for the year. We've got a lot of stuff going on. About a handful of matches have been announced. 6 Degrees is returning, Tough Beats, Wolves of Steel, all these good teams. So, Frank, I'm going to kick it to you first. Give me a team match to look out for and tell me why.
Yeah, Wolves of Steel, 6 Degrees, highly intriguing. We know the story with Wolves of Steel. Supposed to be, some great dominant team. At the time, Wolf was on a tear. Riley, was a champ or a former champ. I can't remember if there was an answer before. It's been so long. But great competitors individually, team up after the decision. Then they lost in Heroes. So where are they at? How strong are they? 6 Degrees came in, beat the Wangers. They showed some good fight in them against Team Trek. That was very encouraging to see. But looking at this match going ahead, Wolves of Steel last season, their question score was 59%. They were 0 for 2 in steal opportunities. As a team, they earned 62.5% of the points available to them. They lost by 1 point, and their victory, they won by 2 points, so it was very close for them. If you look at 6 Degrees last season, they scored 51.52%. They were 2 of 4 on steal opportunities, so they can pounce on you when they have the opportunity. They earned 49% of their possible points earned, and that's the big discrepancy between them and Wolves of Steel. Wolves of Steel does a pretty good job of earning the points that are available to them. 6 Degrees, not so much, and that can be worrisome. But Team Trek, TKO, it's a 7-point loss. Margin of victory for them against the Wingers was 2 points, so a close victory. Now, when you look at their performance individually as teams by round, it's pretty similar throughout, except for the second round, where Wolves of Steel has a big advantage. In the second round, they are answering 71%. It's only answering 56%. Now, if you're a 6 Degrees fan, don't be too down by that number, because that only means there's a ton of room for improvement, which they are fully capable of. And I think you will get that and a big boost from Brienne, who is, statistically speaking, the strongest individual on that team. She's answered 5 out of her 8 individual questions. Wolves of Steel, Mark Riley is the strongest individual statistically for Wolves of Steel. He answered the same rate, 5 of 8 for 16.5% correct. Their teammate is going to help them get put over the top to win this match. And so I think it's going to be a close. Just look at both teams only won by 2 points in their only wins. And I think if Wolves of Steel can win this, a lot to keep that team intact, because this team is hanging on by a thread. You just can't keep not delivering, and they should have been heroes despite the hoopla with that match. And they got a close victory. But 6 Degrees, there's not much pressure on them because they're relatively unknown. So they can still lose this match and still rebound. It's just going to be really, really interesting to see. I mean, all the pressure is on Wolves of Steel. Can they handle the pressure? Because 6 Degrees just got to walk in there and just do their own thing, and that's going to be a very interesting match.
Well, John Campia even alluded to it on the ranking show. He said, if the Wolves of Steel don't win, do they break up? Kristian even said he thinks the answer is yes. I think the answer is yes, too. I think they're much better apart than they are together at this moment. Now, they could turn around now with 6 Degrees, I feel like it's a lot more cohesive because they work together on the daily and doing their shows together, and Clark and Mark do as well. I feel like they have a better team dynamic. I feel like they work better as a team, and like you said, and as the Joker said in The Dark Knight, there's plenty of room for aggressive expansion. And I'm high on this match. I think it's going to be fantastic. Paul, now I want to kick it to you, man. What's a team match that you're looking out for? And tell me why.
Match I'm looking out for is actually going to be the group that we love to talk about. ETC, ranked 6th, versus Tough Beats, ranked number 4. I kind of look at this as it's the face team of the year versus, almost like the people's heel, the heel team of the year in my eyes, at least in my opinion, because, again, just how awful they are with, just their demeanor and they're coming out and all that. And so looking at the information I have, Tough Beats, we saw that, they came out one match and they ended up winning the people's vote for face team of the year. We've mentioned in the past the fact that they had great teamwork with the rule changes that they had. You could see both Jonathan and Perry working together very well. Great cohesive team. And then you look across the way with Dewberry, that other guy that is on the team, Ricky. Yeah, I know. You got Dewberry's answering most of the questions. If I look back at all my notes, Ricky missed all of his. I mean, the last match that I remember looking at the data, we have, he didn't get most of them right, if any. And it's just to me, it hurts Dewberry's chances a little bit because he knows his stuff. I mean, looking at the data, it's amazing to see with ETC having 4 matches, two chances to steal and only 1 steal. It's amazing. That's the case. I mean, and looking at the information I've got with Tough Beats, they defeated a team, and this is the one area where I'm like, hope this is going to be a challenge for Tough Beats because Double Jeopardy really, 3 points. That's all they got, and they knocked him out. And so, getting and they stole 3 questions and got the 3 points for the 3 steals that they had. So even in one match, Tough Beats have more steals than ETC does in 4 matches. Just seeing that's going to definitely lean it in their favor. That is, of course, if the wheel agrees with fate, if you will. That I'm looking at because, again, we're coming in with Tough Beats as that face team of the year. They're very popular. Perry, again, I think Kristian said it. Probably Perry's the most nicest person on the planet.
I would agree.
Yeah, exactly. When the interview, we go back and listen to that interview we had with her. She was so sweet, so wonderful. But I see that as it could be a challenge for Tough Beats. It's their follow-up. It's their sophomore album, if you will. Is it as good as the first? Let's see. But again, we have a potential handicap match, if you will, with Dewberry and Ricky, because even Ricky even admitted he's just scrapping the bed. He's not doing what he needs to do, and all he's doing is he's being a mouthpiece. He's not answering any questions. He's not answering them correctly. He's just being the mouth of that team where Dewberry's trying to pick it up. And I think overall, Tough Beats being that cohesive unit, working together off screen, both of them, soaking in that knowledge daily at Collider. Granted, yes, ETC definitely works together as well. Dewberry's got more of that knowledge than Ricky does. So I think 2 against 1, those aren't very good odds. So that's what I'm looking forward to see the follow-up to Tough Beats and to see if ETC is going to hang on at all.
Yeah, I think everyone wants to see what Tough Beats follows up with. Real quick for ETC, I found a really funny stat about Ricky Hayberg. In all 4 matches, he has had 18 individual questions asked to him. He's only answered correctly 6. So,
wow.
That's 33%, folks.
That doesn't sound good. I'll definitely agree with you, Paul, that Ricky definitely is a piece. Yeah, our thoughts on ETC aside, it's tough. If Tough Beats wipes the floor with Sam Levine and the all-time money leader in Jeopardy, this is like Andre the Giant versus Rey Mysterio. Doesn't even make sense. It's ridiculous. It's absurd. So, I'm all Tough Beats on that one. The only
Tough Beats did get the perfect storm in their favor. They got opponent's choice, player's choice. I'm looking forward to see how they do in a kind of a regular going match.
Listen, Frank, I don't mean to quote the great Herm Edwards. You play to win the game. So you play the game that's in front of you. That's what they did. They won the game. Can't help it. Can't help it that fate was on their side. Will it be on their side next time? Maybe not, but we got rising stars, man. Jonathan Voitko could be a big-time contender this year. Interested to see what he comes up with, and Perry as well. That team's dynamite right now. I'm excited to see what happens.
I'm definitely rooting for Tough Beats, but I'm just curious to see how they can weather a much more unfriendly storm.
Burial of ETC continues. The only other confirmed team match, except for the one we're going to talk about here in a little bit, is the Wangers, Team Wangers, versus the Real Rejects. Both teams 0-2. I want to see both of these teams do well. I like the dynamic of Real Rejects because I feel like they're just there to have fun. I feel like the Wangers are a little bit more serious than they probably should be. So that match is kind of, I don't know, it's kind of up in the air. It could go either way. It could be really fun and close, or it could be absurdly boring. I'm not sure. So we'll just kind of see how it ends up there. Any thoughts on that match, Frank?
I just want to see Copster do good. That's all I'm asking for from wingers. Just Copster.
Is he on your team? Because he's on your team, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And just, please do good.
Copster, we love you, buddy. Paul, what do you think of this match?
You mentioned it earlier with the Herm Edwards quote with Real Rejects. You play to win the game.
Mm-hmm.
We get it. You want to be nice guys. You want to be, all well and good in the face team and all smiles and be all end all good guys. And let's hopefully learn from the mistake you did with Wolves of Steel and not be like, hey, what do you want to do? What do you choose? Don't do that. Go for the throat, man. Step on it, turn your foot, whatever you need to do. Make it a bloodbath. Don't come out there with, be all smiles and go for the win. I mean, you both need one. Wangers and Real Rejects, you both need a win. Go for it. Just be merciless.
We don't condone killing on this show. Just want to point that out as a disclaimer. But yeah, I mean, I think the Real Rejects have a real chance. Oh gosh, pun. They have a real chance, good lord, of being one of the more fun teams, like a really good face, respected team. I had a lot of fun with them in their last match with the Wolves of Steel. I thought they were a lot of fun.
Yeah,
I really dig those guys. They're into the league too, man. They were up and down the comment section, just going at it with people. It was hilarious. So I definitely want to see both teams do well, but unfortunately, one of them is going to go to 0-3, and that's probably just going to keep you out of contention. Let's jump into this coming week's matchup, one half of the doubleheader. It will be Team Heroes, the number 8 ranked team, versus Team Superhero News, the number 10 ranked team. First, as I have most of the show, how do you see it going? What's going on here?
I really view this as Superhero News coming out party. I was looking at the numbers for Superhero News, and I think they are under everybody's radar, except for probably the people who follow them very closely. Adam Flavic and Hector Navarro, looking at their numbers from just their one match, okay, and I know it's one match, despite a losing effort, they scored 70.59%. They were 2 of 2 on steal opportunities. They only earned 53% of their possible points earned. Performance in round 1, they scored 83%. That's 5 out of 6. Round 2, they got 75% correct. Round 3 is where it fell off. But when I was looking at who's the strongest individual, who did best on the individual questions, they both were 3 out of their 4 questions for 75%. These guys are good, and I think Heroes is not going to fare too well against them. Because I looked at Heroes, and in their 2 matches, they scored 51.6% on steal opportunities. They've only earned 49% of the points available to them. Lawrence answering at 41%. Second round, 69%. Third round, 33%. And Robert Meyer Burnett, as we know, as the Intergeekdom champion, he was 4 of 8 in his individual questions for 50%, which is a little surprising to me. So I think Heroes has to have a lot of things come out with the victory. Superhero News, I think, can win all game. And if they happen to get questions that come to them that are in the Heroes' wheelhouse, because that's their wheelhouse as well.
I think it's fair enough. Team Heroes hasn't had an easy road. I mean, they played the Wolves of Steel, they beat them, then they were destroyed by Team Patriots. So it's not been an easy road. Superhero News, a tough match against Team Trek. It's good competition. So both of these teams going at it, to me, right off the top, if you didn't even have statistics, I would say, oh yeah, that's going to be a great match. Just by the optics of it, it makes sense that both of these teams at this point would make a great match. I'm really excited for it. Paul, I want to kick it to you. What are your thoughts on this match?
Yeah, you guys are kind of not even mentioning the fact that this is almost a rematch with Hector Navarro and Robert Meyer Burnett. So we got the Intergeekdom Championship match from the Spectacular, almost kind of a rematch there, so that's going to be some intrigue to see that. Again, you can't argue with Frank's stats there. I mean, what more can you say in that realm? But I mean, looking at just the team together, Superhero News, both of those gentlemen are very strong in what they are doing. They're very impressive. I mean, I honestly was kind of bummed I didn't get them on my fantasy team. They're that great of a team together. When you look across the way, hopefully that Intergeekdom Championship that Robert Meyer Burnett has on his shoulder will maybe motivate Schnepp, kind of put some effort into potentially helping out their team. with you've seen the beer drinking, the pizza, your favorite thing there, Aaron, Shrimple McShrimpleton. It's just hopefully knowing that and seeing the last Heroes episode when actually their debut in 2017, how excited Schnepp was when he had the title on the show. Hopefully that will give some motivation to doing it. And I even kind of in the back of my head thinking, how cool would it be as if there's an Intergeekdom Tag Team Championship titles? That would be kind of cool. But just seeing that, I'm enjoying the fact that we're almost seeing a Navarro rematch with Robert Burnett. So hopefully we'll see not just a one-on-one, but we'll definitely see a tag team this time with Schnepp getting in there and answering some questions.
Yeah, I think the wild card is definitely John Schnepp in this match. You guys have said it. I'm not going to reiterate it. I think even John Campia said it today that it's going to come down to Schnepp versus Adam. More or less, Burnett and Navarro cancel each other out because they're so good at what they do. They kind of cancel each other out. So it comes down to Adam versus Schnepp. Of course, the comic book movie scenario, they're pretty even, I would say. It's fantasy sci-fi. I don't know. I mean, I would feel that Schnepp has the advantage there, but I don't know how it's going.
He blanks a lot. I mean, a lot of the stuff that you've seen, you're like, how do you not know this? And knowing him from AMC and Collider and being on the shows and throwing out inkists and shading people from like comic books like nothing. Like, it's amazing how he knows that much knowledge. Like, I've even asked, can you do like, you're like a human footnote. It's amazing how he does that. But then coming up with these questions and he just blanks. It shocks me. So I mean, I don't know if it's the style, but maybe the whiteboard's going to help. The whiteboard might help with him actually writing something down and actually going that route.
It'd be interesting. Schnepp, in individual questions and team play, he's only answered 2 correctly out of his 8.
There's your telling stat of the match right there. So we're going to save our actual picks for the end of the show, so we're doing it, college game day style. All right, let's jump into the singles preview. A lot of good matches on the slate so far. I'm going to kick it to you, Paul, first. What is a singles match that you're looking out for currently?
It's the match, the culmination of months and months of just storyline. Started on May 27th of last year. The decision happened. Everything just kind of turned on itself, and we've got Finstock versus Makuga from what Kristian said at the show, on the ranking show, it's now a 1-year ban. It's not really like a retirement match. I heard for a fact that it's a 1-year ban of Finstock. It's a 1-year ban of Makuga in singles. So it's not Finstock's gone. I heard that was a little different today. So I'm not sure what the change was or what the reasoning for it was. I heard it was originally going to be Finstock's done. Like, he's locked out completely. Like, he's never coming back. So it looks like it's a 1-year ban. So looking at this, I literally, this is the storyline that has been throughout the entire year, starting with breaking up Box Office Breakdown, with JTE being, the little evil, Finstock being the face, Makuga changing, going to the Mega Powers, them having, kind of an awful debut, but still, you got that, and we got Snyder with JTE. See, they got that storyline going on, and now you've got, Finstock walking out of Makuga after they win, Finstock now being the manager of the Lion's Den, and now we've got Finstock versus Makuga set for what the schedule says, February 3rd, and that, to me, culminating, I cannot wait to see Makuga take Finstock to town, when just getting him out of the door. You can see all the female contingent very excited to see Finstock go. I don't see one of them excited to, having him stay. I don't see anybody seeing him stay. But I cannot wait to see the match. There's going to be, it's Finstock. He as he says, he equals ratings. And championships. But he's not really physically holding one. He's the manager. But I can't wait to hear what he has to say, what him and Makuga are going to do together. The back and forth between the two, the back and forth between, the interviewers, the commentators. What's going to happen? I have a feeling it's going to probably be the most entertaining match, not question-wise or answer-wise. I think it's going to be more of the entertainment part of that. I think that's going to be the most entertaining match of this slate that we have so far, that's the one I'm looking forward to the most.
It's going to be, I predict it'll be a match where everybody will be on pins and needles. Because by the off chance, that Finstock pulls the miracle.
There's no way. No way.
I just want to see the look in the crowd if Finstock, I'm just saying if, I'm not saying when, if Finstock defeats our good friend Josh Bakuga. That would be legendary. Just add to the mystique and the allure of Bob Finstock. I mean, wow. That would be amazing. Probably not going to happen, but that would be spectacular. Frank, what do you think of that match? And do you have one of your own that you're keeping an eye on?
For Finstock and Makuga, it's going to be an absolute spectacle. I feel like this should be its own special. It should be its own kind of 30 for 30 thing. This can be really, really good, and not in the sense, like Paul said, not in the question and answer sense. Entertainment, pure entertainment from both guys delivering verbal jabs. Who knows what in the world Finstock's going to say, how he's going to, when he does lose, how he's going to...
2 words. Press conference.
Gotta happen.
Oh, God.
Gotta happen. Yeah. You're right. It's gotta happen. All right, so for the match that I'm looking at, that's very, very interesting for 2 different reasons. Well, I guess they're pretty much similar reasons. It's the Riley-Levine match.
Okay.
Levine, pretty well, took a rough loss to Clark Wolf, and then he lost to Mark Ellis in the Ultimate Schmoedown. It's both good losses. Good losses to have if you're gonna take an L. Those are 2 good, solid competitors to take them from. Riley, he started off great, knocking out GATE, and then he had 2 other matches against Roca that didn't go his way. Same thing with Merle. It was a rough season for him, and I'm not even talking about the struggles he's had with the team. If you look at Riley's career numbers and what he did in the league, very similar stuff. His career numbers 71.67 correct. His league play was 72%, so slightly better. Steal rate dropped from 70% career-wise to 50% league-wise. Very similar. 68% on both sides. He did blow a 2-point lead to Roca in the Spectacular. I don't know what that's going to do for Riley. You saw how he reacted after he lost to Merle, but he is a solid competitor, and it's just when he twice against Roca, against Merle. These guys are 1 and 2 in the league. He came out the loser on those. Levine, not as highly touted as a Roca or Merle. A good, decent shot at beating Levine. But Levine, he's no slouch. He scored 70% in his 5 matches. His steal rate was at 83%. The only weak spot for Levine is his first round performance. He's answering 63%. Round 2, it's 76%, which is pretty good. Round 3, he's dabbled in the 3rd round a lot, answering 77%, so he has a good track record in the 3rd round. Unlike Riley, it's still good. He needs it to be great to pull off these wins. He's only answering 63% cumulatively in the 3rd round. It was a little bit lower these past few matches, which really hurt him in the end. Or jumpstart Riley's year, or it could end it fairly soon. Huge match for Riley, more so than Levine, but Levine also desperately needs this win.
I think it's imperative. It's absolutely necessary for Mark Riley to win this match. I don't think there's any other way around it. The guy has to stay relevant in this league. Paul, what do you think?
To kind of further what you guys were saying, both of these competitors need to find themselves. I don't know what's going on. They need a win. Both of these guys need a win. They're both going to be grasping for straws. They're both going to be fighting it out. I see that they both need to get on track. More so Riley, I think, than Levine, because if you think, since he lost that title, we are seeing the decomposition of Mark Riley. We're seeing a slow decline. We are seeing loss after loss. Yeah, he had a really good matchup against Roca. That 2nd round was awesome. That back and forth, that 7-8 that they had. But I mean, overall, Riley needs this. He needs this win to get back on track, because again, if he loses this, when the Wolves of Steel go against 6 Degrees, how is that gonna? He's obviously gonna be still down on himself. So he needs this win. Sam Levine, same thing. I mean, he's kind of like a roller coaster ride. You know, he started off well, and now he's in that downward slope, so he needs to come back up again. And so both of these guys are desperate for wins. It's going to be interesting to see who does end up winning. I once had called this a squash match. I'm thinking Riley would take it. Knowing the stats, knowing what's happened, I think it's going to be a lot closer than people think.
You know, and the thing with Riley's last match against Roca, imagine if Riley doesn't land Star Wars.
Yeah.
What does that match look like on Riley's end? I don't know if he comes away with the full 8 points. So, I mean, there's a lot of question marks going forward for Riley.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Sam Levine, a loss for him doesn't really... He'll always be there, I feel like. And Mark Riley gotta stay relevant, man. Like, all these other people are passing him by. Even his own teammate, Clark, is starting to pass him by. John Roca, even Kristian is passing him by at this point. So I know they're all competitive and they all want to get to that top spot. So Mark Riley has to win. That's all there is to it.
And you know what? He's at a point where he can't dabble in players ranked outside the top 10. He has to go against the big dogs because he was at the top. If he wants to stay there, he has to fend those guys off. He can't go down and play JTE. He can't go down and play, you know, an Inman, for instance. Try and maybe get his confidence back, but if he wants to stay at the top, those guys aren't going to do too much to keep him up there because Clark and Kristian, Harloff, they're just going to pass him by because they're going to be playing tougher competition.
Makes sense. Let's jump into the singles preview for this week. It is number 9, the Beast, William Bibani, versus the now unranked, but one half of the team champions, JTE. Paul, I'm going to kick this one to you first. How do you see this match going?
I know, obviously, JTE being my number 10 pick on my draft. I mean, he's playing twice, so that's kind of a good thing on my end. He'll get some points, but that's all I really am seeing is some points. The fact that he has, in singles, gone down to the last question and gone to sudden death, except again for that Cody Miller match. I mean, I don't see it going very long. I see a TKO in my future potentially, but again, that's spin of that wheel again. You know, you never know. That's the chance that they take. Bibani being that one match, but 100%.
Yeah.
I mean, 100%. Think about that. I mean, and hearing Kristian talking to him about, you know, Bibani's been in the crowd for a few of these matches. Kristian looking at him going, so how do you think you do? And he's like, roll his eyes. You know, he's unleashed. And you will see that name from that number 9 ranking. We're going to see him shoot up real quick. I don't see this being, I mean, it's a good match to start off the year with. It's a good little squash match, beginning of this whole thing. Yeah, I don't see it going very long, and I don't see very many points on JTE's, and I don't think it's going to end up the way it's been going with him with other matches, but except the L is going to remain.
Oh, wow. Frank, hit me.
Yeah, JTE. This match will set the tone for his 2017. Now, I was looking at his career numbers and what he did this past year, trained 61.7 in the 2016 season. He answered at 60%, so it's pretty much the same. Steal rate was at 75%, same thing for 2016 season. There was nearly a 6% drop between his career number and what he did in this past season, from 55.4% down to 49.46%. So that's a considerable drop. And a lot of that has to deal with the fact that he's been absolutely horrible in the third round. He's only answering 33% in the third round. And his past 3 matches, he has gotten progressively worse in the third round. He answered 2 against Ellis, answered 1 against Makuga, and none against Cody Miller, which explains why he lost that match so inexplicably. Past season, he's blown 3 leads going into the last round. He had a 1-point lead against Ellis, he had a 4-point lead against Makuga, and he had a 6-point lead against Cody Miller, and lost all 3 of those matches. So, for whatever reason, he just cannot seal the deal. And when you go up a guy against Bibani, who was perfect, and missed, 1 point because he went to multiple choice, still answered correctly for 100%, I don't know what JTE can do to win this match, besides be a completely different person. Okay, so... yeah, a TKO is probably highly likely, just given his recent history in the third round. That's all there is. That's all there is.
Guys, when are we going to learn? Don't discount JT. The numbers you're giving me, Frank, I hear you. It's been progressively worse. He's on a down slope, but he's also
It's a trend. It's a trend.
he's also a champion. He's got new confidence. The guy's got confidence now. JTE was so down in the dumps. Like, yeah, he had the little evil persona. He's flipping people off, but there's something to be said for new confidence for a player. So JTE having the stones to challenge William Bibbiani?
He has nothing to lose.
Dude, he may have nothing to lose, but he's got everything to gain. Could you imagine JTE defeating Bibbiani? Bibbiani's done. He's done before he even starts. But
I kind of want to see it happen, to tell you the truth. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. William Bibbiani, friend of the show, and my number one draft pick. I was listening to his podcast, the B Movies podcast. You should definitely check it out. And at the end of every show, he and the guy he does the podcast with, I apologize, I don't remember his name. I'm sorry. They always end with, "We're smarter than you," and I think that's a pretty good slogan for this match. Smarter than you, and I think that works out. I think that's a pretty good motto for Bibbiani at this point. I don't want to make it sound like I'm leaning that way just because he's my number one pick and I want him to score all the points. I still somehow, some way, deep down in my heart, I root for JT. I don't know why. I shouldn't. I just want JT to succeed, and I don't know what that is. I don't know where that comes from. Confidence is going to be something. It's going to be interesting to see if Bibbiani can live up to that hype that he's on, because dude's being pushed to the moon right now. So will that come into play? Will JT's confidence come into play? And it's just going to be a nice clash. I think it's like the perfect singles match to start off with, other than maybe a championship match. This is, to me, is the next best thing, because it's a match of momentum. Both of them have so much momentum going forward. It's going to be a nice collision. I'm super excited for that. Let's pick some winners. How about it? Let's start with the team match. Let's start with Team Heroes as the 2-point favorite over Superhero News. Now, Paul, I'm going to kick this one to you first. Heroes, Superhero News. Who you got?
Let's see. Heroes is -2 over Superhero News is what we've got for the I'm going to go Superhero News.
Okay, one vote, Superhero News taking the points.
2 honestly sounds dead on. It really does. So I think it might.
Okay, fair enough. Frank, what about you, man?
Yeah, I'm going to take the upset with the points as well. I'm not completely discounting Heroes out of this, but it will be close. But I just think Superhero News will pull it out.
Despite my grumblings with Mr. Schnepp and his constant clearing of the throat, my God, get that man some water. I'm going to take Team Heroes. I think that if Schnepp can come in focused and Robert Meyer Burnett can stay on the track that he's on, I think they're going to be fine. Adds more fuel to the rivalry with Hector Navarro, gives him kind of an interesting narrative of, I can't beat this guy for some reason. We're so close and I just can't beat him. I'll take Heroes with the points over Superhero News. The singles one, we just talked about it. It's William Bibbiani, a 5.5-point favorite over JTE. Frank, I'm going to kick this one to you. Who are you taking, and are you taking the points?
I am taking Bibbiani, and JTE will cover.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Paul, what do you got, man?
I can't add anything to it. I actually concur with Frank.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
So exciting stuff.
That was great. No, I like that a lot, actually. All right. Okay, obviously, Bibbiani's my first pick. Why would I go against my first pick? I wouldn't. We're friends now, so I'm taking William Bibbiani. I'll take the points. I think he'll beat JT. I think he'll knock out JT. Just saying. I like JT. I know I just pumped him up in that preview, but I think Bibbiani's just going to knock him out. I feel bad for the guy.
Like a knockout or a TKO?
I'm talking knockout. I'm not talking TKO. I'm not talking TKO. I'm talking knockout.
So do you think JT is going to hit double digits at all? Do you think he's going to hit double digits?
Dude, if he can't hit double digits against Cody Miller, how is he going to hit double digits against Bibbiani?
Fair enough.
Bibbiani's not going to give him the chance.
Right.
And it's funny because, I put up a poll earlier in the day regarding, what's the percentage people think that Bibbiani's going to score 100% again? And 41 to 50%, there's 23 votes at the moment. That's the top vote. 81 to 90% of people with 22 votes think he can do it. I fell in the range of 11 to 20% that he could score 100%. And there's a handful of people who think 71 to 80% that Bibbiani can score 100% again. So people are high on Bibani being very, very dominant.
Makes sense. Let's play a little over under, if you will. Let's put it at 85%. I'm going to start with you on this one, Paul. Over under Bibani gets 85% of his questions right.
I'm going to go over.
That's an over. Okay, Frank, what about you? Over or under 85%?
85%. I'm going to take the under, but I'm going to say he's going to get 80% correct.
Okay, all right, fair enough. And I'll just push, because I'm a jerk. All right. All right, that's going to do it for all the previews. But before we get out of here, Frank put together what I could only describe as an expose on a certain player in the Schmoedown. If you know a certain podcast, it'll sound very familiar to you. We're going to go to that right now.
For the last few weeks, I've spent every working day trying to figure out what happened to a certain Schmoedown competitor from this past season in 2016. Or if you want to get specific about it, and apparently I do, what the hell happened to Mark Riley in 3 out of his last 4 matches? This search sometimes felt undignified on my part. I've had to learn about movie viewing habits, where, how often, with whom, about tweets they posted online, about genres they're interested in, their relationships with their peers. And I'm no math whiz or a mathematician. I'm not even a statistician. But yes, every day these past few weeks, I've tried to figure out what happened to Mark Riley. As it would seem, Riley has given false hope to his loyal supporters. He's not the man you thought he was. He was merely a nugget of fool's gold, a placeholder until true and worthy champions could take up the mantle. Sure, you could say that he was the champion of the very first Ultimate Schmoedown in 2014, that he had to fend off 4 competitors to wear the belt, that he had 2 knockouts. That's all true. But what I'm telling you is, it's not as great as it seemed. Let us start with the competition he faced. In his first 2 matches, Alicia Malone and Gray Drake combined to answer a total of 5 questions correct out of a possible 20. Hardly a tough go of it, wouldn't you say? Then he faced off against JTE in the semifinal. JTE. What can be said about JTE's fall that hasn't already been said? The man hasn't won a singles match since September 2014, and that win barely qualifies as a win. Lastly, he faced Josh Makuga, the guest master himself, in the tournament final. Was it a close match? Sure, but that only speaks to the average play of Riley by answering only 61.54% correct, thereby giving Makuga a chance at a victory. Now here's a fun fact to keep in mind. In that tournament, about 15% of his points came from steals. In all of his 5 matches in 2016, only 6% of his points have come from steals. A major part of Riley's perceived dominance came on the backs of weak and below average players. But alas, one final polish on that nugget of fool's gold came when he knocked out JTE in his one and only successful title defense. A final score of 17-7 surely meant that Riley was in fact dominant. But a worthy competitor in Dan Murrell was barreling down on him. At last, he would truly be tested. Riley failed that test. He failed Collider. He failed the Schmoes. More importantly, he failed you, Schmoeville. Riley has lost 3 out of his last 4 matches. In those 3 losses, not once has he had the opportunity to steal a point. Because that is what happens when you face elite competition. They don't give you anything. You have to take it from them. In his last match against Roca, he played one of his best games ever and still lost. When the pressure is on the most, Riley hasn't delivered. In the final round of play for his last 3 matches, he is only answering 50% correct. Hardly the stuff made of champions. With established players like Dan Murrell, Mark Ellis, and John Roca, Riley is on the outside looking in and has been for a while. Now, With the injection of new talent like William Bibani, Mark Andreyko, and Drew McWeeny, where will Riley find himself standing? We shouldn't be surprised to see him fall further down the ladder, because 2014 ain't walking through that curtain.
All right, send your hate mail to @FrankieJ29, and you can find him on Facebook @FrankJanish, and send it there. And wow, that's all I have to say about that is just unbelievable. Okay,
we just tell the truth here, man. That's all.
Hey, he's the credible Hulk. He backs things up with stats and data, so you can't hate that. If he was to just go on a rant with just his opinion without anything to back it up, then yeah, hate mail definitely. But he backed it. He backed everything up. As much as we like Riley, with those stats, you can't hate Frank.
Paul, I know you're a teacher, and I don't mean to be like this, but I'm gonna have to educate you. It's this is the internet. The internet doesn't care if you have facts. The internet doesn't care if you wrote the book. You're still wrong. So I'm just saying, you'll still get hate mail.
No, okay? no argument for me here, man. Not at all.
Can I just say one thing? Of course. Hi, Matt Kearns.
Oh, wow. All right, let's get out of here before things are thrown at us. Okay. All right, guys. We love the Schmoedown, obviously, and Frank, myself, and Paul got involved in the fan movie trivia Schmoedown Facebook group, which is ran by Chris Doman. And I would encourage you guys to check it out. It's a fan league. People play against each other. You go in and get your match, and you play a fan version of the Schmoedown. It's pretty self-explanatory. Frank and I squared off one-on-one today, and Paul was guest commentator. And we got to kind of test our wits, if you will, and show that we know what we're talking about. And I think for the most part in that match, we did. I think it's a great match. You should definitely check it out. I think it's going to come up either tomorrow or the next day. This was a lot of fun. I would encourage you to check out the Fan Movie Trivia Schmoedown League.
Yeah, it was a pretty cool thing he put together there, and definitely give it a listen. Give it a shot.
Yeah, for sure. All right, guys, and of course, it's a new season of the Schmoedown, so it's going to be a new year. It's a new Schmoedown rundown. We haven't been at this very, very long, but we're coming back next week. New logo, new theme song. It's going to be legit. I got to thank some people in the Facebook group. I put out an APB, if you will. Man, we're going to set a records for if you will in this episode. I'm going to say these people's names wrong probably, and I apologize in advance. Joe Adonis Toke, Leanne Lecoutère, Tasker Thorne, and Jay Williams all designed logos for us that are amazing. If you haven't seen them, they are fantastic. They're all great, and choosing one of them to be the logo is going to be ridiculously hard. I haven't decided yet. They're amazing. I would encourage you to check them out and thumbs up the ones you like. They all are very talented artists. Very impressed with their work. And hopefully by next week, we will have that new logo and that new theme song ready to go. One more thing I wanted to say. This is kind of off the beaten path. And this isn't our jam usually. This is so this week, Mark Andreyko, obviously Schmoedown player big in the comic world, works for DC. He was promoting Love is Love this week. And Love is Love is a comic book collective of artists and different creators and writers and storytellers and all this stuff. Jason Inman and Ashley V. Robinson have a piece in it. It's an amazing book. I would encourage you to check it out. It's sold out right now in print. Amazon is currently sold out, but they will fulfill your order if you pre-order it, and you can always get it on digital. All the proceeds from this book go to the victims of the Orlando Pulse shooting. All of it. So let's do our duty as Schmoedown fans to support the players and support these people that we love, and support Mark Andreyko and support Ashley V. Robinson and support Jason Inman in this endeavor, because it's pretty amazing that these creative people took time out of their life just because they wanted to make something positive out of something that was horribly negative. And it does have it touches me in a certain way because I live in Orlando and it's still fresh in our minds here. It's never going to go away, and it's just always looming. So anything that can kind of put a smile on the face or that get a positive from that, anything that could help. I mean, I support that 100%. So I would definitely encourage you to check out love is love anywhere that you can. Digital, of course, always available. And that's going to do it for this episode of the Schmoedown Rundown. We will be back next week recapping these big doubleheader matches. Before we go, got to give a shout out to my panel here. Frank, the stat man of Schmoeville. Where can you be found, and what do you got going on, sir?
Yeah, find me at FrankieJ29 on Twitter. I'll be on Facebook, page of Schmoeville, Movie Trivia Schmoedown page, answering any questions I can that you guys have out there. So just, hey, give me a shout, and I'll try and help you out as best I can.
And of course, don't forget your hate mail. All right. Also, he is the king of the ding, Mr. Paul Wolf. Where can you be found, sir?
Hey, I can be found all up and down the Facebook pages, Movie Trivia, Schmoedown. You can get the Schmoeville, the fan page itself, all of there. Obviously, just look at Paul Wolf. You got Twitter at the Mr. Wolf, and you've got also on Instagram at the Mr. Wolf 12.
Fantastic. As always, you can find me on the Twitter at ATTitanium. Movie Trivia Schmoedown Facebook group, Schmoeville Facebook group. I'm there. Definitely check out the article that's going to drop. Frank's weekly article is going to start this week. It also will have a show link for us. Give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the SK Podcast channel. Check out the shows, man. You got the Wenger Show. You got the Schmoeville After Show. You got JT Movie Things all on this channel. All entertaining. Check it out. Give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to the SK Podcast channel. We would definitely appreciate it. This is the Schmoedown Rundown. We'll see you next week.